Hi everyone, it's Ro and I'm back for another book talk. I haven't done a book talk in so long and I'm so excited to talk about this new book, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury by SARAH J MAAS. Now, if you've been around my channel for quite a long time now, you will know that I have been waiting for A Court of Mist and Fury to come out for so long. I read the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, on the day it came out. I read it really early and I loved it so much. It was my favourite book of 2015. So my book hangover has literally been lasting for a whole year. I never stopped thinking about this book. I loved it so much. If you haven't read the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, I did a book talk on it all the way back last year. It was my first ever book talk, first ever video on this channel, so it's probably not that good. So you can go watch that if you haven't read A Court of Thorns and Roses, but right now I'm going to be talking about this amazing sequel that I finished just last night. If you've read the book, you can stay. I'm going to be spoiling everything and talking about everything, so if you haven't read it, bye. I'm going to move on to the spoiler section now. Oh my god, you guys, I loved this book so much. It was everything that I wanted and more. It was everything I expected, and I loved it so much. I've been fangirling for so long, and so when this came out I was so ecstatic, and I can't believe how much I enjoyed this book. And look how bloody big it is. It's so big. Like 600 pages. So I was so excited when I heard that. I was like, oh my god, yes. It's like double the length of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Wait, is it? This one looks so thin in comparison. Look. Oh my lord Jesus. So I was so happy about the length of this book, and obviously it took me a while longer, but I'm so glad that I didn't really race through this book as I did with A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I know I'm just going to be so sad for the rest of the year now until the next book comes out. So I wanted to sort of draw out the experience, and I loved it so much. Feyre's arc in this story was so inspiring, and it was exactly what we needed after the events of ACOTAR. She was really broken, and as we could see from the first few chapters of A Court of Mist and Fury, she was not doing well. She was losing weight. Tamlin wasn't really helping her. He was overlooking that she was really quite depressed, and I will get back to Tamlin in a minute. I will. So that's coming towards the end. I'm getting back to Tamlin, and Tamlin, I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed at him, but I'll wait until the end of the video to talk about Tamlin and all the stuff that went down in the last few chapters of this book, which were amazing, by the way. So the book opens with Feyre having a nightmare about her being in a dream with Amarantha, and Amarantha is forcing Feyre to stab the High Fae that she killed in the last part of ACOTAR, and she's reliving these moments. Amarantha gives her the option to kill herself, and she immediately, with no hesitation, takes a knife to her heart, which obviously sets up the whole state of mind Feyre's in. I really liked seeing her healed and leaving that part of her life behind, all those dark parts of her life behind, to move on and become a new person who's braver and stronger. And I just loved her character arc so much, and I feel like she is gonna kick ass in the next book, and I'm so excited. Over the year that I had to be absorbed in ACOTAR, I came to really love Roisin, and he, oh my god, I seriously think he is an amazing character. He has so many levels to him, and I was really intrigued by his character at the end of ACOTAR because we still really didn't know a lot about him. And this book was perfect because we got to find out all his secrets, all his motives behind the things he did in ACOTAR, and his past experience with Tamlin. We learnt more about the war and him being with Amarantha. What I really liked when we went to the Night Court was that the Night Court was not as everyone seemed it to be. Because no one's really allowed in the Night Court, no one really dares to go there because of Roisin and past High Lords of the Night Court, making the Night Court appear this horrible place where murderers roam around the land, and so no one really knows about the Night Court. And when we got to see Feyre go there, we saw that it was all a mask. Hello? I'm filming. Yep. Yep. Fury?
Are you talking about A Court of Mist and Fury? Oh, I love that book!
Do you?
Love Rose Reads as well. It's absolutely my favourite channel. Well, I actually wanted to tell you one of the most embarrassing things of my life.
Okay, hang on, let me just take you off speaker. Bye, bitch. Bye. Anyway, so what was I talking about? So we learned that the whole terror and the legends behind, well, the myths, I guess, about the Night Court really are not true. Rhys and other High Lords have been keeping this whole city within the Night Court, Valaris, a secret. And I loved seeing Valaris. I want to live there. It sounds so amazing. Everyone's so happy and Rhys cares about the city so much, and I just loved seeing that part. That I didn't really expect that it was going to be like that. I had a few guesses that maybe the Night Court wasn't to be as it all really seemed, but I didn't really know the extent as to what that would be like. So when we got to go with Feyre to Valaris, I was freaking out and I fell in love with the city so much. Do you know who I also fell in love with? Rhysand's inner circle. Oh my god, you guys, you don't know how much I enjoyed seeing these new characters that are Rhys's family and closest friends. I loved every single one of them. Let's just go through them, shall we? Okay, firstly, we've got Mor, who is Rhysand's third in command, and she was just a great character to bring happiness and joy to Feyre and sort of lightening her mood. She really helped Feyre, along with Rhysand, drag Feyre out of that dark hole that Feyre was spiraling into. She was a really great, happy character. I loved hearing about her backstory. Her backstory was horrifying and really inspiring, and how she grew up in the Court of Nightmares, and her virginity was sold to Lucian's eldest brother, and she didn't want to conform to those horrible traditions that were in the Court of Nightmares, so she slept with Cassian. We could see that that had very terrible repercussions, and she was nailed to the front of the Autumn Court and left to die as Lucian's, I can't remember his name now, his eldest brother left her there because he didn't think she was pure enough, and oh, that was just horrible. But I liked seeing that she was sort of a guiding star for Feyre and that she could come back from her own demons. We also got to see Cassian, who was a really great character. He is the commander of Rhys's armies, and he really reminded me of Aedion from the Throne of Glass series, and I love Aedion so much, so to have that sort of parallel in Akamath was just awesome. I liked seeing that behind his sort of arrogant and unassuming mask, he was really actually quite caring, and him growing up in the Illyrian war camp, being a bastard and being treated really badly, and hearing about how he rose up in high ranks to be one of Rhys's closest friends was really interesting, and I love seeing that. I loved how he connected with Feyre on a personal level as well, and how they really understood each other. I really liked their friendship a lot. Then we have Azriel, who was a really interesting character. I'm still trying to figure him out. Along with him being a shadow singer and him being Rhys's spy master really made him a very interesting character who's very mysterious. I never really knew what he was thinking, and Feyre described that he always wore this cold mask and she never really could read his emotions, but we saw that he was actually falling for Mor. Well, he was in love with Mor for years already before we saw them together in Akamath, and I just want them to hook up. They need to get together. I don't understand why they haven't done it yet. I guess because Azriel thinks that he's not good enough for Mor, but I seriously think that Mor will like help him so much if they become a couple, and I really hope, well, I'm guessing that it will happen in the next book, but I'm so looking forward to that. Amren, oh my god, I love Amren's character so much. I didn't think, when I heard about her before A Court of Mist and Fury, I didn't really think I would really like her that much, but I loved her character. She is one of my favourite characters. She sort of gives off a Manon vibe from the Throne of Glass series, but I don't really like Manon that much, so Amren, she is so interesting. I love how she just takes no one's crap. Whenever she's insulted or she's mocked for something, she just shuts her enemies down, and I love her so much. I really want to know what sort of beast she was before she became High Fae. I have a feeling, and I've seen speculations on Tumblr, that she could be like a fire drake, or I guess a dragon, and that would be amazing to see her beast form in the next book. And I'm sure that she'll probably break free of her High Fae body and become this magnificent, horrible creature. I really loved her and Feyre's relationship as well. Even though they got off on a sort of rough start, at the end when Feyre was taken back to the Spring Court, Amber was like, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? She was just hounding Rhys on where was Feyre? Where was she? We need her here. You can't just leave her in the Spring Court. And my heart, it just like broke, because I loved her and Feyre's evolving relationship, and I really liked seeing that slow burn friendship happen. And can we just talk about some of the Spring Court characters? Okay, first of all, Ianthe. This bitch. I hate her so much. She was fishy from the start. From the first sample chapters that I read, I knew she was a bad guy. I was like, Feyre, can't you just see that she is not good for anything in the Spring Court? She's trying to manipulate you, and we could see that Lucien really didn't like her either, and Roisin had no positive feelings towards her whatsoever, and we later found out why that was, and that was a bit shocking. Ianthe, bloody hell, calm it down. I really didn't like her, and to know that she betrayed Tamlin in the end as well, she's just, I hate her. I really do, and I really want Feyre and everyone else to kick her butt in the next book. I'm really looking forward to her downfall. I was really unsure about Lucien's character in this book. He wasn't very decisive, and I really wish he would have stood up against Tamlin, because he saw how much Feyre was wasting away in the Spring Court and what was happening to her and how it was affecting her so much. And he was her friend, and he didn't do anything about it. I guess he was in a tricky situation between Tamlin and Feyre, but I was like, dude, come on, she is literally about to die in the Spring Court and you're not doing anything about it. It's very interesting that we got to see Feyre's sisters. Again, Nesta, I'm still not her biggest fan. She is just so hateful and spiteful, and I really wish she would give Feyre some credit. I thought that their relationship would be on the mend since she went to her home in ACOTAR, and they sort of had that revelation of sorts of them sort of understanding why they were so hostile to each other. But when Feyre presented herself to them as High Fae, Nesta was livid, and I really didn't like how she was cold to her when Feyre did so much for her. She was just so ungrateful. And Feyre talks about her actually being the one who feels too much. She feels too much, so she puts up this front of her being cold and mean. I really hope there's a lot of character development in the next book for Nesta. Elaine still remains as a sort of minor character, but it's very interesting that when the girls were turned to High Fae by the cauldron at the end, Lucien declared that Elaine was his mate. They're mates! Oh my god. Like, what? I did not see that coming. I always thought it would have been Lucien and Nesta, but now Nesta sort of has a thing going on with Cassian, so I'm happy that's playing out. I actually really quite like the way they bicker and banter with each other. But Elaine and Lucien, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Another thing I really need to talk about is Rhysand and Feyre's relationship. Oh my god, guys, this is everything that I ever wanted in this book. Rhysand, I always wanted him to be with Feyre. I knew that he had something going on with her and she felt it too, and to find out that they were mates was amazing. And the thing that I loved is that he always let Feyre make her own choices. Rather than what happened with her and Tamlin, he decided to give Feyre some freedom because she's entitled to freedom. She is not owned by anyone. No one is her master. She can't be contained. And so I love seeing that he gave her those opportunities to really decide things for herself, because she didn't get to do that in the Spring Court. Can I also just say that I love how Rhysand is like a raging feminist. I absolutely love that his second and third in command were women, and that he hated the way that women were treated in Prythian and was trying to turn that around. Actually freaking love that, and I'm so glad that he is like the only male character in a book that I've ever read that feels so passionately about feminism. So yay to Rhys being a feminist. Feyre and Rhys's relationship, I loved how they really had an understanding with each other and they bonded over what happened under the mountain. And I loved how they became friends before they became partners. I love seeing their friendship blossom, and it just made that slow burn romance so much better, and it was everything that I could have needed in this book, and I loved every single scene with them. I was always just anticipating Rhys to be in a scene with Feyre, and there were a lot of them, so I was so happy about that. At the end, when we thought that the King of Highburn severed their mating bond, I went out of my mind. I was like, no, this cannot happen. And it did, but we found out that it wasn't actually the mating bond that was broken, it was just that bargain that Rhys and Feyre had together. And when her tattoo disappeared, that was just evidence of the King of Highburn doing something to Feyre and Rhys's bond. And so Tamlin is now convinced that Feyre and Rhys aren't mates anymore, but Lucien is so suspicious, and he knows that there is still that mating bond there because he knows that he's still mated with Elaine. And seeing him not selling Feyre out because he knows that he needs Feyre to see Elaine again is really interesting, and I want to know how Feyre and Lucien's dynamic is going to change now. Tamlin, bloody hell, he is so stupid. He threw everything away. He's such an idiot, and I hate him so much. On Tumblr now, everyone's called Tamlin the Tool, and I'm just like, bro, why did you do that? He was so controlling, and he just would not let go of the idea that Feyre was not happy, and it was not a healthy relationship for them to be in. But when that whole scene in Highburn unfolded, we got to see Durian, who was resurrected again, and he was a douchebag. I hated him so much, and how he took them to the throne room and the King of Highburn was there. He's actually an arrogant prick. Him knowing that he was so powerful, and because he was so powerful, he could really mix everything up and change the whole game of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was so pent up because of all these things that happened in that scene. So much happened, I can't even talk about everything without this video going for so long, but wow, that scene was amazing. Sisters being turned to high fae due to the cauldron, seeing the mortal queens being so hungry and eager for the chance to be immortal and then wanting to be changed into high fae. I was so mad at them, and I hate them so much. But it just seemed like one bad thing after another happened in that scene. Cassian, his wings are like broken. They're completely, nearly all gone. What does that mean? I know that Illyrians, they'd rather die than not have their wings, and Azriel being stabbed in the chest, that was just, we just thought he was just gonna die at any moment. I'm so glad that he stuck it out to the end. And now war is coming in Prithian. War is coming, and Feyre is the High Lady of the Night Court. And she's gone back to the Spring Court in order to be Rhys's spy. And I love that bit when everyone was telling him to go get Feyre. Why wasn't he going to get his mate from the Spring Court and save her? And he said that she sacrificed herself to be in this position, and we need her there so she can relay all this information from the King of Highburn and the Spring Court in order to take them down from the inside. So now Feyre is becoming badass, she's gonna kill it. We just gotta be ready for her in the next book, and what is gonna happen. I feel like all hell is gonna break loose, and I'm so excited. I'm just so relieved that I love this book so much. It was everything I wanted and more, and the writing in this book was spectacular as well. Sarah, she really hit me in the feels with all her cute little romantic lines, and oh my god, the character development was on point. I just love this book, and I feel like it's one of Sarah's best books, and it's left me wanting more, so I cannot wait until the next book comes out next year. But other than that, I'm going to give this book 5 out of 5 stars. Obviously, I can never say no to Sarah J Maas, but seriously, I really think that this book deserves it. And seeing from the rating on Goodreads, it's really high. It's like 4.7 or something. So I really want to hear your thoughts. I really can't talk about everything in this book talk because it would just go on forever. There's so much that I still haven't talked about, but we can talk in the comments. So if you guys have any thoughts on the book, who you really liked, what you thought of the new characters, please comment down below. I'd really like to hear what you thought of it. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Passenger follows the storyline of Etta, who's a 17-year-old girl. She's a great violin player.